The film begins with the Cappa family, consisting of parents Guy and Prisca, and their 2 children Maddox and Trent have arrived at a luxurious resort for a much-needed family vacation. As soon as they settle into their rooms, Trent quickly strikes up a friendship with a young boy named Idla. The 2 of them spend their days engaging in various activities, including asking other resort guests about their names and occupations. Idla even shows Trent a secret code, adding a touch of mystery and excitement to their vacation. The next morning, the Cappa family is joined by a group of other guests at breakfast. One notable guest is Dr. Charles, who is accompanied by his wife Crystal, their daughter Cara, and Charles's mother Agnes. Meanwhile, Patricia, a woman seated nearby, begins to experience an epileptic seizure. Charles, a doctor, rushes over to assist her, along with her husband Jarin. Trent also notices Idla, his new friend from the previous day, but the resort manager intervenes and forces Idla to leave. Despite the interruption, Trent is determined to spend more time with Idla and make the most of his vacation. The Cappa family, Charles and his family, board a van that takes them to a secluded beach. While playing on the sand, Maddox recognizes mid-sized Sedan, a rapper who was earlier seen with a female companion. The kids play together while the adults relax on the beach. The girls come across some old dolls buried in the sand, left behind by previous visitors. Trent goes for a swim and stumbles upon the body of the woman who was with mid-sized Sedan. She apparently drowned. The adults examine the body, and mid-sized Sedan is shocked and confused by the discovery. Charles raises suspicions about mid-sized Sedan's involvement in the woman's death, but the rapper denies any wrongdoing. Tragically, Agnes, Charles's mother, starts to feel short of breath before she also passes away. The beach trip takes a dark turn, as the group must grapple with the sudden loss of life and the mysterious circumstances surrounding the woman's death. Jarin and Patricia eventually arrive at the beach, but the people who brought them are nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, the children begin to experience strange things. Mid-sized Sedan, who has hemophilia, explains to the adults that the woman he was with had multiple sclerosis. Jarin and Patricia speak with Trent and Maddox, who have suddenly aged, along with Cara. The sudden changes in age and appearance add another layer of mystery to the already complex situation at the beach. Several attempts are made to leave the beach, but all the adults who try to pass through experience a severe headache before they pass out and wake up back on the beach. They notice that unusual things are happening, such as when Charles attacks mid-sized Sedan with a knife. The slash mark heals within seconds. Later, mid-sized Sedan discovers that the woman he was with has fully decomposed into bones within an hour, leading them to realize that something time-related is happening on the beach. Prisca's tumor suddenly causes her pain and distress, and the adults try to help her. They first feel around for the tumor, describing it as being the size of a golf ball, before performing surgery to remove it. The tumor has grown to the size of a cantaloupe, and the cut in Prisca's stomach heals quickly after the procedure. The events on the beach continue to get stranger, and the group must work together to find a way to escape before it's too late. As the events on the beach continue, Trent and Cara experience even more aging. The strangeness of the situation intensifies when Cara suddenly becomes 5 months pregnant, despite only being on the beach for a matter of minutes. The adults prepare for the birth, but the baby dies just a minute later due to a lack of attention. The other adults also start to show signs of aging, but Crystal takes the process much harder than the others, becoming increasingly distressed and emotional. The group must find a way to escape the mysterious and dangerous effects of the beach, as time seems to be accelerating and their physical bodies are changing rapidly. As the situation on the beach becomes more intense, Charles's mental state deteriorates as he develops schizophrenia. This leads him to violently attack Brendan, ultimately resulting in his death. The others attempt to restrain Charles and take away his weapon, while also searching for a new plan of escape. As a last resort, Jarin tries to swim out to find a way off the beach. Meanwhile, Trent and Maddox come across a notebook that was left behind by a previous visitor. They see that the notebook contains names and medical conditions, which gives them some insight into the strange events happening on the beach. They also spot what appears to be people in the distance observing them, adding another layer of mystery to the already confusing situation. Maddox and Prisca have a conversation regarding the state of her relationship with Guy. Prisca reveals that she had been seeing another man, which leads to Maddox being upset with her. In an effort to prove herself and find a way out of the beach, Prisca sets out on her own. Unfortunately, she comes across the body of Jarin, who had apparently drowned after losing consciousness. This sight proves to be too much for Patricia, causing her to have a fatal seizure. Kara, who is also desperately searching for a way out, starts to climb the rocks in hopes of reaching the top. However, before she can make it far, she loses consciousness and falls to her death, leaving Trent devastated by the loss. As the night progresses, things continue to worsen for the adults on the beach. Charles's mental state has completely unraveled, and he is a danger to everyone. Meanwhile, Crystal's rapid aging is taking a toll on her both physically and mentally. She has grown a hunchback and is losing her mind. Guy is also facing a decline as he is losing his sight. In addition to this, Prisca is aging rapidly and her hair has turned gray. During their conversation, Guy and Prisca talk about the man who Prisca had been seeing. Guy admits that he was aware of the other man but regrets not doing more to save their marriage. He also mentions that the other man is not worth Prisca and she deserves someone better. However, their conversation is interrupted when Charles attacks them. Trent and Maddox also face danger when Crystal becomes hostile and tries to attack them when they try to look at her. Crystal follows them into a cave and her body twists and contorts in a horrifying manner before she dies. To protect herself and Guy, Prisca slashes Charles with a rusty knife, causing an infection that quickly spreads throughout his body and kills him. As the night sets in, the Cappas gather together by the campfire and the beach. Guy is struggling to communicate and recall memories, but he expresses his love for Prisca just before his death. Prisca briefly stands up, but she soon collapses and passes away next to Guy. Trent and Kara are left to mourn their parents' loss as they are now the only ones remaining on the island. As the day breaks, Trent and Maddox have aged even further and now appear to be in their mid-50 seconds. Trent recalls a code that Idlib had given him earlier, and after deciphering it, he discovers that it reads, "My uncle doesn't like the coral." The siblings spot a coral reef in the distance and realize that it could be their way out. They both dive into the water to explore it, but Maddox's clothes get tangled in the coral. Despite their efforts to free themselves, they do not resurface, and the van driver who brought the families to the beach, played by M. Night Shyamalan, reports back to his superiors that all members of Trial 73 have perished. The truth about the resort is finally uncovered. It is revealed that the resort is actually a front for a medical research team that conducts clinical trials for life-saving drugs on people with medical conditions. The team lures these individuals to the beach, where they serve them cocktails containing these drugs. The catch is that the beach has a unique property that speeds up the aging process, making it easier for the research team to study the effects of the drugs in a short amount of time. In fact, the team believes that they have already made a breakthrough in treating Patricia's epilepsy, as she did not experience a seizure for a total of 8 hours, which is equivalent to about 16 years on the beach. The story reaches a dramatic conclusion when Trent and Maddox expose the truth about the resort's sinister operations. The resort manager and the other staff members had been trying to capture new victims for their clinical trials, but their plans were foiled by Trent and Maddox, who managed to escape from the coral reef. Trent encountered an old acquaintance, a police officer, and showed him a journal he had found on the beach, which recorded the names and medical conditions of many missing people. The journal was a crucial piece of evidence that helped Trent and Maddox reveal the truth. Even Idlib, who had interacted with Trent as a child, recognized him as an adult. With the truth now out in the open, the entire resort staff realized they were in deep trouble. In the aftermath of the events on the beach, the authorities arrived to take all the resort employees into custody for their unethical practices. Meanwhile, the police officer who Trent spoke to earlier escorts the now adult siblings to their aunt's home. However, the aunt is not prepared to see them as grown men, having last seen them as children. Trent and Maddox share with her their experiences and the truth about what really happened on the beach. This is a heart-wrenching moment for the aunt as she grapples with the fact that her beloved niece and nephew have aged so much in such a short period of time. Old is a true thriller that will keep you on the edge of your seat. From its captivating story to its intense acting performance, it's no wonder why it's such a popular movie. This movie will leave you with a lot to think about, and it's a true representation of how far people will go for scientific advancement. If you haven't seen Old yet, make sure to give it a watch. You won't be disappointed. That's all for today's recap. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the Short Times channel for more exciting movie recap. See you in the next one.